Hi, this is Ajmal the developer and welcome back to HTML tutorial number 19 on HTML event attributes. So the event attribute is one of the important attributes within your HTML document. Um, it's a function that triggers uh, triggers uh, basically upon a clicking or upon loading or upon mouse hover, it triggers functionalities and behaviors uh, that that are basically embedded within your page. They are actually linked to JavaScript functions. So without further ado, we can go ahead and take a look at the important points. So first thing first would be that HTML has the ability to let events trigger actions, as I was saying, in a browser, like starting a JavaScript when a user clicks on an element. Um, Second point would be there are hundreds of HTML event attributes, but for the purpose of this video, we will only go through three of them. And last but not least, we must implement JavaScript functions to achieve our goal. Although this tutorial is uh, designed to teach you HTML, but we do need to use some JavaScript functions. So without further delay, let's go ahead and start coding. All right, so we're gonna start with our simple boilerplate, and we're gonna call this document HTML event attributes, and we're gonna do most of our coding within the body section. So first thing first, we're gonna have to write a script, and we're gonna actually write a simple function here to display a alert upon upon user loading the page. So we're gonna call this function my click. So that's pretty self-explanatory, and we're gonna bind a alert in this function. So we're gonna call this function or the message pages loaded. We're gonna close that line of code, and that's that for that function. And for the HTML portion, we're gonna actually write. We're gonna. This is where the onload event applies. So that's we're gonna write body onload equals my click. So this my click event applies to this function. So as soon as the basically this portion of code says that as soon as the user loads the page or the body of the HTML document, this function will be applicable only when the user loads the body of the HTML document. So you can see the rationale behind that. And my click, actually the brackets go in between the quotations, like so. And we're gonna close that, and we're gonna do an h1 here, and we're gonna call this hello world, and we're gonna do a line break here, and after the line break in the body section, we're gonna or actually no, this would be actually a different function. sorry about that. So for next behavior, we're gonna use the Onresize behavior. So Onresize, we're gonna Onresize equals my size, and my size would be the function that we're about to write. So resize my size, and we're gonna close this statement, and we're gonna add a p tag. So we're gonna add a p tag, and between p tag we're gonna write try to resize the browser window. All right, and now we're gonna add the script for it. So again, another function. So this function would be, you guessed it, my size. So this my size is basically, again, this my size is the function that we're binding to this HTML line of code here, and we're gonna add the alert within this function. And the message we're displaying is you have don't know how to spell have. You have changed the size of the browser, and an exclamation mark. And we're gonna end this line here, and that's that for that function. And we're gonna do a line break again, and we're gonna add a p tag, and we're gonna write a message here. A function is triggered when one of the input fields get focus. Focus meaning when you hover your mouse on top of a field, which I will display in the browser. The function changes the background color of the input field, and dot. And we're gonna have to write down our form here. So we're gonna call the first form first 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 space name, and we're gonna code the inputs or the forms here. So input type equals text ID equals if name or first name, and on focus equals my focus node, and within the brackets we're gonna write this dot ID and close the brackets, and also close the input. We're gonna do a line break here just to separate the fields, and we're gonna do the last name again. It's easier to copy this code here and paste it. All right, so input type text ID, instead of F name we're going to do L name for last name. Again, on focus we're going to do the my focus, and the rest is the same. Okay, so that's that for the fields, and we're going to do the script, the last script now. This will also be a function, so this would be function my focus, and again this my focus function is basically this here, so we're binding this function to this line of code here. So my focus, we're going to give it an argument of x, which we can use in our following line of code, and we're going to do the document dot get element by ID of x, which is this x here within our functionality, dot style dot background equals, we're going to give it a color of yellow. Okay, so that is that for our last function. So I want to explain this line of code here. So what we're instructing the browser to do is to basically go to the document that we are loading, and get the element by ID of x, which is this x here, and apply the style background, the style of yellow. So to apply the yellow background to this functionality, and bind it within the input code. So that's the logic for this functionality. If you think about it, it's quite straightforward. So that concludes the coding, and we're gonna save this and reload it. Hopefully everything is written properly and there is no bugs, and if so, it should actually work like magic. So let's go ahead and load this. Bingo. So this is the message that pops up upon loading the page. Actually it's not supposed to show this message. I'm not sure why it's doing that, so that's a bug that we can actually take a look at, but let's see if the rest is working fine. Now it says, now it's showing the actual message, so that's a bug there. And if we minimize this, when we minimize, we see this the actual message that says the browser has changed. We're gonna okay that, and again, because we maximize it, we see the same message again. We're gonna okay that, and then we're gonna, as soon as we click on this first name field, we should it should change the background color to yellow, and it does, you see. And we have these options, so I'm gonna put my name, Ajmal, and last name is working fine too. So that's actually doing what's supposed to do. So as you can notice, or you noticed at the beginning, we did display the wrong message. So that was a bug. Why don't we go ahead and take a look into that bug? So when we load the page, the only message that loads should be this message here saying that the page is loaded. But for some reason we get this message here as well as this message. So we're gonna take a look into this and see why it's doing so. So we have the first script here within the body section, and then we have our HTML code here, body onload. We have our my click functionality, and then we have our h1 hello world. Okay, that's so far so good. Next up we have our body Onresize equals my size, and we have the p tag of try to resize the browser window, and then we have our script function my size, which is correct. Function my size. Okay, so we have got that, and then we got the alert of you've changed the size of the browser. Okay, that's fine. Then we got our scripts, and then we got the break. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. And then we have our line break. Okay, then we have our p tag of what we are going to do in this field. Okay, and then we have our field here. Then we have the last script here, which is function my focus, and then the document line here. Okay, that's fine. And then we got the body section and the HTML. Okay, that's pretty good. Everything seems to be all right. We have our body, okay, and closing tag body. Okay, onload. My click. Body onload equals my click. Let's save this and see if this worked. Page is loaded. Great. Yes, perfect. So we did solve the issue, and let's go back and see what was the actual mistake, because the mistake or the bug was probably because the lines were too close to each other. Maybe that's what triggered the bug, but we managed to fix it. So let's go back to the browser. Okay, so we have our first alert, which says pages loaded upon loading the page. So it's doing what it is supposed to do. And then as soon as we minimize, we have the you have changed the size of the browser alert, which is perfect. That's how it's supposed to be. And then upon maximize, we get the same alert, which is according to the code. And lastly, we do get our change of background color upon focus, upon clicking on the field, and we can input the name, and on the second field as well. So yeah, we managed to accomplish the goals. So we In this page, we have three different events. One is upon loading the page, one is upon resizing the page, and last is upon hovering or clicking on the field. We get background. So that concludes our tutorial for today. I appreciate your time and effort, and hopefully I will see you in HTML tutorial number 20. Thank you and have a great day.